I'll get a few things. I won't get it all. This is Dr. Joel Schuessler, a good friend of mine and professor, as he mentioned, here at Concordia. Joel works in developing all kinds of smart IT things, but his real passion, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. His real passion is around helping you and me find out how God has wired us and shaped us and built us so that we can then live in that joy and that freedom to to be ourselves and to be the us that he has made us and to work for his kingdom. We both have wives who teach kindergarten, and we have kids that are in the same grades. And so, like you said, it's been fun to grow up a little bit together. I'll turn it over to Dr. Schuessler.
Thank you. Thanks, Joel. That was flattering. My wife's a kindergarten teacher. And as Lutherans, our first calling, Luther said it right, our first calling is to our families. And so fantastic that we get this opportunity to connect. So this presentation is about coaching to strengths, discovering how we are an absolute unique masterpiece. As Pastor Tom put it, when we have this as our theme, we are poetry. I think that's what the Greek says. Is that right, Pastor Tom? That's workmanship, yeah. We are in his workmanship, absolutely. Created in the image of Jesus, for an absolutely distinct purpose as well. So, by the way, before I go on, I just wanted to make sure that you know that I will provide references if you need them, because there's lots of references in here. A couple of years ago, I decided to start studying how we could make Lutheranism more relevant, especially because I enjoyed doing strengths coaching. So I enlisted my father, Dean Schuessler, many of you know him, and now President Emeritus Bob Holst. I've been here 31 years, and so I've gotten to know the pure joy of having President Holst be the shepherd that he is and the person that can reach out and lead with grace. I don't know a more humble president in all my life. So they helped me, and they guided me. And one of the things that we discovered over about a year or so was this is the Clifton Strengths Finder that I'm going to talk about in a second. We posit that a Lutheran understanding of this Clifton Strengths Finder uses the Bible, peers, and strengths coaches to help us accept who we are, especially to help us find out how we are like Jesus. 1 John 4:17, in this world, we are like Jesus. It also can help guide us to God's absolutely distinct purpose for us. So before the earth began, God said, I have a plan for each of you, and it's absolutely distinct. Do you believe that? Something completely unique for you. And that's what I found that strengths coaching helps people do. This is the way I'm wired. You're going to find out this is who I am, and this is who I'm not. That's what I use in my coaching to find out. And what that does is if we can accept ourselves, find out our purpose, that helps us be a blessing to other people. All right? Frees us with language from the Holy Spirit to accept others and be a blessing to them. So I'm privileged. My dad wrote this book, Devoted to God and Each Other. Feel free to pick that one up. It's a beauty. And they modeled great marriage for me. This is my wife, Stacy, and my son, Cole, and Maya. As Joel mentioned, he's got kids junior in high school and college, and I've got the same. They are my calling. They are my love. That's Japanese for love. I was born and raised a missionary's kid in Japan, first 12 years of my life. I'm a grad of Concordia St. Paul. I'm a rostered teacher. Went to teach at St. Paul Central High School and at Martin Luther High School in Milwaukee before coming back to start the computer center here in 1986. So I did that for about 13 years, and I've been a faculty or teacher of IT management for the last, 18. But nothing has been more impactful to me, because I help students become better project managers and those kinds of things, but helping these techies see these personal skills come to life, right? There's this big gap between the techie folks and the business folks, and I'm trying to help build the divide by, you get my drift, right? So this, I'm a coach, And I did my dissertation on self-assessment and lots of other different kinds of things. I'm a certified strengths coach. Joe Cavanaugh was the lead partner for Gallup's Faith Division, now has his own business called Equip to Equip. He's the one that certified me. And this whole process is about changing the cycle of false identity where we minimize who we are and project who we are onto other people and say, you should be like me. Turns that around and says, let's turn it to a cycle of authentic identity where you know who you are, feel comfortable with who you are, and all of a sudden the fruits of the Spirit start showing up. Get my drift? So this is my family's strengths. And, so here are some executing strengths, influencing strengths, relationships, and strategic. So what's really interesting about this is the top 10 are in green. The middle ones are in yellow, and the bottom ones are in red. So this tells you what slice of Jesus you are. You follow? Only Jesus has all greens. So I even say that to my Hindu students, my Islamic students, people that claim that they're atheist. I say, well, let's find out what slice of Jesus you are. I'm going to give you an example. I have a lot of relational gifts. My number one is includer, so I love including different cultures. I think God wired me that way for a reason. Positivity and woo, I love pulling people in and introducing. In contrast, my family are relators. They will dig deeper with people than I will. I will get to know lots of different people and shake hands. Pastor Bob is built the same way. And his wife will tell you she's more of the relator type, right? Oops. So I'm going to give you an example of why God put my wife and kids with me. This book called Strengths-Based Marriage, I can show you, says God often puts opposites together, right? And so we're driving down the road, and in 2 miles, we're supposed to turn off. And because Joel is an extrovert and likes to do this, right, I'll probably wait till the last minute and then go across 2 lanes into the 15-mile-an-hour turn, right? So my son and wife, who are strategic, have seen this pattern in me. And they say, Dad, in 2 miles, that exit is coming off. And instead of saying, you're nagging me, now I say, thank you for operating in your strategic talent. It's not perfect, but it really, we have been on a healing journey that way. It's been wonderful for them to show me my blind sides, if you get my drift, okay? So, I have embarked on some strengths coaching with South Shore Trinity. There's Pastor Bob right there and Pastor Tom. They have invested in their staff by asking me to come and coach them. Joel Simic has also taken some initiative that way at Woodbury Lutheran. I thought this was a cool one to stop on, valuing each person, right? And sharing, caring, and in Christ, right? Growing, right? So really cool missions at our 2 churches. And what's cool about the way these 2 congregational folks have been wired is, for instance, Tom's got positivity and communication, and Joel's got input, and he's got context, and all these other ones that I'll tell you about in just a second. Pastor Bob's got context as well, but his context is very different from Joel Simic's context. They both appreciate the past as they look forward and use that as a way to learn for the future. So it's really cool to be coaching them and finding out how they're uniquely crafted. And I've been doing it with their staff as well, with Carol and Sally, and I'm about to get to be with Pastor Dan. And I've been with Pastor Dan, and I'll be with Jolene and Ruthie as well. So I'm going to just tell you a quick story. Okay, so we were on a mission trip, and right about 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody comes in and says, some of the kids' air mattresses are floating on water. We got flooded in the basement of this church. And Lindsay, who is a DC at our church, was woken up by Rob Krieger, who's a professor here at Concordia, also on the mission trip. And Lindsay went back to her. She goes, oh my goodness, okay, what are we going to do? We're supposed to do all this stuff today with them, and we need to figure out what we're going to do with these kids. So we get together, and Lindsay, who has a number one responsibility, is thinking about all the implications of what we're going to do, how we're going to be responsible for these kids. And what did she do? She turned to her Jesus Speaks Bible study, and she prayed. She came together with the group at about, 5:30 a.m., and she said, what do you think we should do? Left it out. Rob Krieger, who's got command, said, by the way, command, sometimes people think on the shadow side that they're just going to take control. You know what Rob said? He said, what do you want to do, Lindsay? He's giving her the reins. She said, let's do this. And with Jesus at the center, we were off, all right? So I could tell you lots more about them, but I don't have time. So working here at Concordia, I get to do lots of different things to help pull out the masterpiece. We're focused on what it means to be distinctly Lutheran. I love that about Concordia. I've been to other universities where it's not true. Concordia, Irvine, and Seward are the same, I'm sure. I've met some people there that are doing some great things. And we just got this new bell that you'll have to check out, all the solas. Jesus alone, saved by grace alone, right? All those are on that bell. So one of the things that I try to reinforce with my students is your value, not like the world who says your value is based on performance. Your value, Psalm 139, is absolutely wonderful. It's already been predefined that way. Okay? So I love being part of the Christian gospel and this great promise statement which helps people discover and engage their purpose, how they are uniquely wired. And this is a Professor Synapse picture. I love that. I think you should know that one of the things that makes the StrengthsFinder absolutely unique is that if you just take the top 5 in the order that they are, you are like one of 10 people in the country that has those same top 5. But if you do all 34 talents like I just showed you, then you are like 1 in 295 times 10 to the 36, more unique than a grain of sand or a star in the sky. So I'm going to finish with this because there's lots of slides, and Joel obviously is a professor and has lots of stuff to show, but there's lots of cool things about helping millennials who want purpose find their way. I have research on strengths in congregations, how it improves engagement, productivity, loyalty, improves empathy. This is one on, I'll just leave that. So I'll just leave it with this, okay? This was my purpose statement, okay? By you they will bless themselves was the amplified version of Genesis 12:3. The devil told me that blessing that went to Abraham only applies to the Jews, those descendants. I was sick at the time. He likes to use that. And then he pointed me to the cross-reference in Galatians that says, no, it doesn't just apply to the Jews, but Gentiles too. And immediately God showed me to the truth. And Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, father of the Islamic folks, all now point to Jesus at top. I had one Hindu student come up to me the other day, and she said this. She said, you know what, I grew up in a Hindu family, but somehow I kind of resonate with Jesus. And I was like, oh, isn't that wonderful? You, Lord, give perfect peace to those who keep their purpose firm and put their trust in you. Thank you very much.